Alrighty guys, welcome back to another video, and in this tutorial what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys how to work with sound in LibGDX. Now what I already did is in my assets folder I added a new directory called sounds, and all of these are just sound effects that I bought off the internet because I didn't want to get sued, so I actually had to buy them. But if you guys know of any way that you can get sound files for free on the internet, I don't know if there's a way to do that or not, but if there is, then feel free to grab anyone off the internet. But essentially, these are just little sound effects, like 3 seconds, or like bloop, ding, bloop, like stupid sound effects like that. And this Clam Jam, this is actually a song. So it's like 3 or 4 minutes long. And the reason that I wanted different lengths is because the way that you handle simple sound effects and the way that you handle music is a little bit different. Not only in your code, but logistically, if you just think about it, whenever you play a sound effect, like if you collect a coin in a game, it's just going to play, it's going to be done, you're going to hear it, simple as that. But with music in a song, you want the user to pretty much have more control over it. You can allow them to pause it, stop it, start over. And of course, you don't want that control with just a simple sound effect. So again, that's why I'm going to show you guys two different techniques, and it's going to make sense in just a second. So another thing I should probably point out is this. I already implemented an input processor and all of the methods just to, I didn't want this tutorial to last forever. So go ahead and do that, and also don't forget to register your input processor as this class. So right now, if I ran this program, it would just look like a white screen. So that's our starting point. And by the way, one other thing, I am adding all of the source code from this tutorial and all of my other tutorials on GitHub right now. So if you want this source code and I don't know, maybe you just want to watch the video, like, alright, this is cool, and then I'll copy the source code later, go ahead, link below, you can get it there for free. Also, not only just for the tutorials, but if you're ever making an app and you're like, alright, you know what, I can use sound effects in here, you can just go back there, and it's pretty much like a library for a bunch of different cool codes that you can add to your program. So I'm going to shut up now because I didn't even teach you guys anything yet, so let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing we're going to do is declare two objects. The first one is sound, and game over sound. Let me highlight that. So whenever you're using just a really simple quick sound effect, you can use a sound object. So that's what this is for. Anything longer than like 10 seconds, you probably want to use this one right here, music. Now again, this is for longer, pretty much songs and music that, let's say you're making a music player or something, you would want to use music instead. Why? Well, as you're going to see in a second, with music you can actually pause them, stop them, a bunch of good stuff. So again, sound for short, music for long songs like a music player. So once that is taken care of, what I need to do is just initialize them. So game over sound, and this is pretty much just saying where is the sound file. So audio new sound, and mine is at files.internal, and I put mine in a directory, remember, called sounds, and this was actually death2. I did not make that name up, someone actually named it death2, and it does kind of sound like I don't know, like the user is dying or their game's over. So there you go. Now for the Clam Jam, which is my song, I'm going to go ahead and set this equal to gdx.audio. Now remember, whenever you actually have a music object, you need to call new music. So if I just copy that, you guys probably won't notice, but new sound and new music are two different methods to initialize your sound files differently. So gdx files dot, and this is all the same, internal, and my file was located in sounds. What was the name of that? I believe it was clamjam.wave. Hopefully. If not, we'll find out pretty soon, eh? Alright. Now another thing I want to point out is these sound files, both of them are disposable. So make sure that you dispose of these, especially, or else they're going to eat up all of your memory. So game over sound dispose, and clam jam, dispose. Look at that, filled it in for me. Now what I'm going to do in this program is I'm just going to say whenever I tap down on the screen, I want this sound effect to start playing. So of course, you would want to play this whenever they either like their character like hit a block or collected a coin, or for a music player you would want some buttons on here. But for now, since we just have a white screen, I can just put my finger on it and it'll start playing. So that is of course touchdown whenever I touch down on the screen. And let's do the simple game over. So this game over sound effect is that really quick one, and at first I'll just show you guys this to play it as normal. Now I'm not going to record my screen because A, I'm lazy, and B, if I showed you guys a demo it's just going to be a white screen. You guys can't see my finger on the screen recorder. So let me just run this and hold on, got my cords all tangled up, and I'll show you guys what it does. Alright guys, so I had a typo. I actually put sound instead of sounds. So my program crashed, but it is running now. Now let me go ahead and tap my screen and listen. So that's, you can see actually right here whenever I'm tapping in my little locket. And now let me tap it real quick. So first of all, that's the most annoying sound ever, but that is my game sound file, and let me set my phone down here. So another thing I want to show you guys is this. See, whenever we just played the sound, we just called a method called play. It ran, played the sound fine. But what this method actually does is, in addition to just playing the sound, it also returns an ID number. And we can store this value, and we'll just store it in a long variable called like sound ID. Now, why would we ever want an ID number essentially to reference this sound? Well, with this ID number, what we can do is add some cool sound effects. And say that you're making this game and you had a bunch of different sound effects for your game. Maybe you had a sound where they collected coins, maybe you had one where they busted a block, and you had this one that played whenever it was the game over. But you notice that this sound was kind of loud, so what you want to do is go in here and somehow you got to figure out how to edit a sound file and turn down the volume. Or with a sound ID, you can actually do this all through Android. So if you reference game over sound and call something like set, as you can see there's a bunch of different stuff that you can do. So we'll just say set volume for now, and then you throw in your ID right there. The volume is actually a value 0 to 1. So if you want to set it at like 90%, just put 0.9 F. And let me show you guys one other thing. And just so you know, being able to differentiate between 90 and 100% is probably a little bit difficult, so I'll show you guys one that will be easy to hear. Set pitch, and this is actually a value 0 to 2. 1 is the default pitch that you heard just like a minute ago. So I'm just gonna go ahead and slow this down to like 50%. So if my pitch was at 50% talking, I would talk like this. So that's what pitch is. Pretty much the speed and, well, the pitch of it. So that's it. Now let me go ahead and play this little demo. Alright, so I got my phone. So you guys probably can't hear the volume being at 90%, but you can definitely hear the pitch. Alright, beautiful sounding sound effect. So now what I want to show you guys how to do is work. Actually, let me just go ahead and take all of these out. And again, I'm going to include these whenever I post the source code on GitHub. So, yeah, alright. So another thing I want to do is show you guys how to use that streaming music. Now, of course, just to play it, it's pretty simple. You call the music file, and remember, this is my long music file. It's like 4 minutes long. Now, of course, I don't want to touch down. It plays for 4 minutes, and I have zero way of stopping it. So just for this example, I'm going to say whenever my finger is down on the screen, it's going to play. However, whenever I lift it up, then I'm going to pause it. So I'm going to call Clam Jam, which is the song, pause. Now, of course, you would never add the functionality to actual music player. You don't want their finger to constantly be on the screen to play the song. But let me go ahead and show you guys. And by the way, well, I'll tell you guys in a sec. Alright, so I'm about to tap my finger on the screen. And now lifting it off. Alright, so as you can see, whenever I lifted it off, then it pretty much stops it or pauses it right there. I'm going to press my finger down again. Lift it off. And that's another thing. See, this right here is the pause method. And what this does is wherever you paused it at, whenever I lift up my finger, it pretty much keeps an indicator of where it's at. Now, I can also call stop. And what this does is it actually stops it, and if I put my finger down again, it would start right at the beginning. So that's the difference from pause. It keeps your place. Stop would start right at the beginning. And I kind of like this song. I got it off well, I don't know even know what the website's called, but check it out. Alright, so there you go. And alright, have to like adjust everything since I'm like grabbing my phone and then like trying to teach this and keep my screen recorder. It's a mess. So I'm gonna go ahead and probably go to McDonald's. They got them chicken selects now. Shout out to my selects. Alright, so yeah, there you go. Again, all this code is going to be on GitHub. So thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and well, see you guys later.